Intro right there. What's going on, mother lovers? Welcome back to another episode of something you might not never know nothing about with your host, Mice Diggy, alongside my co-host, Dan DNA. What's going on, bruv? You good?
Yeah.
All good. Man in the stations, you know what I mean? Making sure everything works smoothly.
I think we've got sound.
That's the man right there. Yeah, we got sound. Let's make sure
I think so.
People can hear us out there. I'm sure we'll get the word anyway. Shout out to the crew locked in already, man. Big up to Turbo Turbolicious. Yes, bruv. Bless me, man. You bless me. Shout out to Black Einstein. Big up. Salute. Let us know if the sound's all right, bruv. You know what I mean? You're our go-to guy to make sure the technicals are working properly. Make sure the shine on the forehead is, you know what I mean, bright enough, but not too bright on the screens and that. Shout out to Dusty Ohms. Yes. Salute, man. Big up to the Poke Attic. Yeah, man, let's get the people in. Shout out to Low Life. Oh, he says sound, so something's going on with the sound. That's what it sounds like. Sounds like sounds. 1 minute, we'll sort it out, don't worry. Sound's working. Okay, the sound. Oh, so Low Life was just saying sound. Like a, sound, sound, mate. There he goes. Just posting a comment in there just to let him know it's all sound. Yeah, that's my little, you know what I mean? I try my best with the accents.
Yeah, the Liverpool one is one of our best ones.
Yeah, mate. It's all right, mate. It's all right. Nah, I'm gonna stay out there.
It went a little bit Beatlesy, so you've got like, you know, there's the old Liverpool accent and the new Liverpool accent. Yeah. You're not doing bad there, mate. It's all right. You're doing the best you can. There he goes, doing the best he can with his dialects.
Yeah, Liverpudlians are so happy as well, man. They're like, you know what I mean? The coolest people. Yeah, it's all right, mate. Don't worry about that. We just go down there and sort it out. Yo, shout out to the Dark Lennial SZ. Right, I was going to say 52 there, you know. I've been looking at too many numbers of late. Do you know what's been happening to me? Is the double number thing. Like, I keep seeing doubles.
11-11.
Yeah, 11-11 or 23-11 or 11-23 or, do you know what I mean? Where it's just like, right, what's going on here, man? 22s and, yeah, triples and all that. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, man, I don't know what it means, man, but yeah, it's very interesting. Shout out to the crew that caught us last week with our special guest, Clint Richardson. That was a very deep episode. We got into the whole idea of legal fiction and your straw man, and the meaning of words and terms and all that. So, yo, definitely go and check that one out if you missed it, man. Big up to everyone who locked in then and felt it, man. I got quite a few messages from people saying, like, rah, that's deep. Look, see it there? 22:22 on the clock. Wait. Wait, what time zone is Low Life in, man? Big up to Bruce Rillis. Shout out to Blue Fliggy in the building. DJ Bluefoot.
Holding down Twitch for us.
He says that he wakes up at 5:47 every day and don't know why. That's deep. 5:47, you know. Yeah, man, that's workman hours, boy. That's straight up like, yeah, I got shit to do hours.
That's going to bed drinking a cup of coffee hours. I know what Blue. I think he need like a late night coffee drinker or something.
Oh, could that be the reason?
Could be. Late
night coffee drinking. What does that do to you? So you go sleep, you think you're sleeping, but
burns out your adrenal glands. There's that aspect of it, yeah. No alarm.
No alarm. Yeah.
I would be alarmed with that amount of coffee.
I would be alarmed. I'm one of them where I can, if I've got a time that I've got to wake up, I can wake up before it. Yeah. Like same, always, yeah. You know, and it's like dead on, like, yeah, perfect timing. Shout out to Mr. Green in the building. What's going on, bruv? Good to see you, man. Yes, come on in, everyone. Share. Please hit the like button. Share on your socials, you know what I mean? Make sure you get the word out there and let people know. This is the hub where we do this, man. We talk to whoever and whatever. You know what I mean? We might end up talking to some kind of alien one day. You never know. According to the US government, it could happen sooner than later. So, you know, stay tuned, mother lovers. But we got a special guest coming up today. You know what I mean? Part of the UK circuit, the hip-hop crew. You know what I mean? A wordsmith, a barbarian, I like to call him, because he definitely does he goes in on that mic, man. I tell you that. He's also a very, very skilled videographer as well, man. So, you know what I mean? We want to make sure people get to hear about this new project he's got coming in, which is Something Live. Something Live. I can hear him.
Yeah, yeah, we can. Sorry, we can hear you, but you're not live yet.
Yeah. On Saturday, so this Saturday, 29th October at Richmix. It's a special live performance, man. Immersive live theatre experience. So you know what I mean? This is, yeah, there's levels, man. And it's by Apex Zero, our guest coming up, and it's called Drummer Warrior Storyteller. Do you know what I mean? So he's going to come and break that down for us, man, because I think this is something, you know, no one's done it before. So we definitely got to celebrate when people from our side of the, you know, culture, doing it independently, are able to put something together like this, because it's been in the making, man. So, yo, let's get some fire emojis up in there. You know what I mean?
You want to bring him in now?
Yeah, let's bring him in, man.
But the drums rolling already, man.
Hold on. I'm just trying to get another. Sorry.
Oh, we lost all the audio. Hold on.
Let me just say before anything else.
Hold on, one sec. I'm just adding the mic in. Hold on.
Hold on, one sec.
There you go. You're in now. That's it. Go on.
Okay, yeah, we just had to sort out the mics there. Sorry about that, bruv. Yeah, this is Mark, co-host Dan DNA, by the way. This is Apex Zero.
We've met a couple of times now, I think.
Man.
Yeah.
Yes,
good
man.
to see you.
Yes.
Jam last time. It was Jam for the Lab 79 event, Chaos Crew event.
Yeah. Hoochie, yeah, man. Yeah. Big up all the crew that came down to that, man. Yes, welcome to the show, brother. Good to see you, man. So you were saying you just finished up something. What was it?
We at the Sons of Zion Global Majority Men's Circle in Kunstrom in East London as part of Legacy 101 Festival. So the Drummer Warrior Storyteller event we're doing on Saturday is a part of a bigger festival called Legacy 101. The studio where we recorded the film, it's a real massive sort of community haven in the middle of lockdown and all them things. Where, you know, at a time when they were really coming for our communities, you know, and really coming for our fields.
Wow.
Brother Muti Musafiri got hold of a massive warehouse. This brother right here got hold of a massive warehouse.
Yes, King.
And we worked. Let's put it that way.
So they didn't lock you down then. They didn't lock you down. That's good to hear. That's good to hear, man.
We find a way.
Yeah, man.
Even in times of adversity, that's when the greatest innovation can occur.
Yes.
And we were a testimony to that. And anyone who would like to find out more, you can go to www.village101.org.
Wicked.
Slash that to Legacy 101. And again, we're celebrating the triumphs and the fruits of our labor. We've taken this incredible album into a visual album and collaborated with so many different disciplines, from crump to painting to lighting technicianship to actors to younger actors doing their first movie roles. I remember on set when we were doing that scene where we were, we felt it was super important to highlight this Black narrative where you are the Black kid in class. The white kid is constantly trying to bother you. And in the moment where that is happening, the teacher is blaming the Black child as the problem child. So that is one of the narratives that we specifically wanted to use as a way to give insight to how we have another outcome out of that. Out of that story. That story is not the same and it doesn't repeat itself. So again, we approach all of these subplots as a way to find a new ending or a new beginning again to what was previously seen as the stereotype for all of Black narratives. And we use that. One of our young kings over there.
Yeah, man.
He's popping up, we want to say hi.
Yeah, that's good, man. He's ready for the camera. That's it. Yeah, that's what it's about, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to say hello?
That's good to hear, man.
Man like Judah.
Yes, Judah. What's going on? You good?
Yes.
Yeah. Good to see you, man. The young kings.
Man like Naya.
Yes, Naya.
Hello.
Wow, that's a powerful name. You good?
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Say bless up.
Bless up. Bless up. Yeah, man.
What was that? What was the web address again?
Village101.org.
Right.
That's the numbers 101, yeah, the digits.
Yeah, yeah. I can, Village101 the numbers.org.
Okay, all right, we'll put that in the chat for anyone who wants to check that out, man. Yeah, man. That looks good. And so what area is that you're doing the circles, the sessions?
This is where are we now?
Old Street.
Old Street.
Oh,
yeah.
Old Street. Oh, nice.
So East Central thing.
Yeah,
Right in the heart of Babylon.
Yeah.
Trust me, bro. Not far from where they run things from. So,
yeah, boy.
Yeah, big up Construm as well. They're one of the sort of sister organizations. We get this space to hold sessions like this. You know. My sis, I sat a Sheriff,
yeah.
did an amazing event here recently for her labels latest release.
Yeah.
So
I heard about that.
community's linked up, man. You know what I mean? She's featured on the album as well, you know what I'm saying? So it's family vibes, you know?
Wicked. So she's going to be there as well, Saturday?
She ain't gonna, I'm not sure she's going to be there on Saturday. She touring, innit?
Yeah,
she out here doing
busy.
her thing, you know what I mean? So
she's back on it, boy.
A lot of people who feature on the album who are, the nature of how we've done this, it kind of meant for this time, we couldn't get the people who are featured on the album to perform. Once we get this mapped out in you know, like a more, once we've done this a few times, I'm looking to bring as many people into it as possible who are on the album, you know. It's just some people are around the world, some people, you know, it's not always easy to organize.
Nah, of course, man, that's a whole different. So that's what's going to be very interesting about. And it just seems like as well, you've put together so many different elements of performance. It isn't just one, you know, of art in itself. It's so many different elements that people haven't even really thought of putting together. That's why I was like, what? How is this going to work? But yeah, we're going to get into all that, man. We won't give them too much, obviously, but yeah, man. Yes, bro. Yeah, so yeah, all right. So we got Apex Zero here, man. All right, for the people who don't know you, you know what I mean? Like, break down, because obviously I know you rap, but then also you make your videographer as well, so I know you've traveled the world doing that side of things. So yeah, for people who don't know you, please break down, you know what I mean, who you are, how you found out, how you got into the music and whatnot.
So yeah, it's like you said, I started rapping, I guess was the first thing I started doing. You know, it was, you know what, I'll take it deeper actually. When I was real young, I played the pans, I played the steel pans. I think that was my thing when I was, you know, I tried to get into a few little things of music and it always felt a bit, you know, they try to teach you piano in a certain ways, and it's like sit down, concentrate on the thing. You know, them ones kind of try to beat it into you a little bit, and these stiff rhythms. You know, them ones I couldn't really vibe with it. You know, them ones. And so I started playing the pans, and I think that's really I only really sort of thought about that when I was younger. To me, it was like that was like the first example of me really connecting with playing black music and black, you know, African Caribbean styles. You know, and so I think that's where I ain't really had much sort of training in music and stuff, apart from that. And I think that's where I really sort of learned about blending sounds and things. And from that, me and my brethren just started spitting, you know, it was the kind of garage days, you know, them ones. Me and my brethren just started spitting when we were sort of 13, 14 years old or whatever. And yeah, you know, them ones. I feel like you might relate to this, Mice, because when I got to about 16, I thought I was just the best. I thought I was the best rapper in the world, innit? Yeah. Do you know, them ones? And then I come down to things like Speaker's Corner, and I realized I weren't even the best in London, bro. Maybe not even in my ends. You know, them ones like, and find out about man like Mice. You know, them ones, and you're like, oh, I got to put some work in. You get me? So I put the work in. You get me?
Yeah,
yeah. I was saying to someone the other day actually, because you know, this project's made me reflect a lot on my life, and I think when I was younger, I was caught in this kind of bind between trying to be visible and not be visible. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess when you're trying to be an MC or any kind of artist, you know, you got any kind of commercial success ambitions, you know, them ones, you kind of want to be seen. But then I was doing a lot of political work and the opposite of that is necessary. Do you know what I mean? Like, I ain't trying to be on no radars, you get me? And not just for me, to get the work done. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and so in a lot of ways, I kind of did what I did and make what I make and done the work that I do, but from a very sort of underground place. You know what I'm saying? I think that's kind of how anyone who does know me will know me as that. You know what I mean? As an real underground MC.
What was the moment when you got introduced then to like UK hip hop? Because you're saying from the garage you started spitting, and then did you already know that there was a scene, like you've heard of, say, Skinny or Roots or whoever?
You know what? I didn't. You know them ones, because I'm from Hounslow, innit? So I'm not from like a Bricky or a Tottenham where you're kind of like fully introduced to these things in the same way. You get me? It's big like, you know, Asian scene here. And we're kind of on the outskirts in this little wasteland, you know what I mean, where there's not really much there. But then at the same time, I remember going to a thing when I was young with Courtney Pine and DJ Pogo. Do you know what I mean? And so they you know what I mean? They come to one of the schools in the area, and we got sort of bussed in as like the black kids. Do you know, and them ones, we're doing the thing for black kids, so let's get some more black kids. You know, them ones, and we kind of got bussed in, and it was a fucking vibe. You know, them ones, I was like, rah. I remember seeing, it was another brother who I don't remember, and they had, they were doing like the hardware, like the Fairman and all that kind of things, and all this, and I remember just being like, yeah, these men are fire. So DJ Pogo, I guess, was my first proper like UK hip hop connection, you know what I mean? And so I think through things like that, I kind of did know. But then what got me off the garage was I realized it was very much for the dance, and I got on a certain way of thinking very early. And when I heard Nas, do you know what I mean? When I heard the Dead Prez and Tupac, it was a rap, innit? You know, them ones, I was just like, this is speaking to me. It's teaching me about my life in a way that kind of garage wasn't doing. You know what I mean? It wasn't speaking to me on that depth, right? And then again, you know, well, I will put Son of Naya by Kalashnikov against any track of any era in the world, bro, and I would say it's as good, if not better, against anything. Do you know them ones? Yeah. So when I heard that tune, and I heard that generation, your generation, you get me? I was like, nah, this is where it's at. And you know them ones. I feel like when it was a time.
How did you hear it? How did you get to hear it?
I don't even know. No, you know what I do know. I used to work in Kingston, yeah, and I remember telling someone, I'm the best rapper in the country, bro. And one brother just kind of went, no, you ain't. And man pulled out, he had a mixtape of, you know, ones used to get from the market and that, like Kalashnikov versus Akala.
Wow.
And they had them back to back, just like, you know, them ones you would pick up from Bush Market or whatever, you know, them ones. And he pulled that out and he was like, trust me, listen to this. Yeah. And I played it on the way home. And I was like, yeah, he's right, bro. These men are differently bringing the fire. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I was like, yeah, okay, I got some learning to do. Wow. And it got to a thing, where there was a time when I genuinely preferred listening to UK hip hop over American hip hop. And I'm not just saying that to like gas the scene up or nothing like that. It was a thing where I'm finding Phalanx Heresy, who went on to become Triple Darkness, you know, them ones. The Character Assassins mixtapes by Conflicts, you know, them ones. Chain of Command, who managing them, man. And it's like, brother, that's what I would bang regularly. You know what I mean? It was like, that was my shit, bro. Like, you know, them ones, like I was out here, me and my boys, it's like we, you know, because it was on one level, I just loved the music, but also it was like, how are you going to be talking about repping UK? How are you going to talk about repping London? How are you going to talk about, you know, we need to support our scene if you ain't into it? Do you know them ones? And it's like, not only, so it's not like you're doing it to do it. You're doing it to do it, but you're also getting the goods from doing that. You know, that's how you learn about a scene, bro. Imagine like a junglist who don't really like junglist. He prefers American music. How's that going to work, blood? You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, yeah, I fully got into it. Obviously, I still love American hip hop. Obviously, it's not, you know, it goes just ridiculous to say I wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? But like all kinds of music from around the world. But like, fam, it was fire. I'm talking to people a lot recently about trying to do I want to make a documentary about our era, about that era that I came into it at. It's one of the least documented, most underrated periods of black music in this country. Do you know what I'm saying?
All right. Like, why do you think that is?
As in, why is it like that? I think that was possibly the most difficult time in recent times to make music. Do you know what I mean? It was at that weird grey area where the old ways of, like, you know, you're supposed to press up CDs, you're supposed to sell them on the street, someone will pick you up and find out about you and and then eventually I'll sign you to a label and That was kind of dying, innit? You know, them ones. And I feel like the labels were at the peak of their powers. And so even like the garage heads who got signed, they were just, every time you'd hear about them on radio. And I remember hearing So Solid and Roll Deep and Pay As You Go and Heartless and everyone else. And then certain ones would get signed and they're making R&B, or they're making like, you know, and when you hear about what happened, it's the labels in there being like, right, American hip hop is what's popping. We need to make that into something we can sell. It weren't about what them man were doing really, or them people were doing. It was about what they can sell and they get into these labels, they try and turn them into something that they weren't to market them. Do you know what I mean? So you're we were stuck in this bind where if you wanted to get signed to any kind of big label, that's the route you had to go down, you know, and then, or you try and be independent, and what people I know now call like the ecosystem of the internet and the independent scenes, you know, that we see now wasn't mature enough to be able to really sustain most people. Do you know what I mean? So it was very few people who could navigate that effectively, you know, and of course some did, you know, people like the Estelles and you know, Dizzy, do you know what I mean? Like people who went on and had bangers of albums, you know, them ones. But then to me, the great success of that is, it's almost like that generation, the So Solid and that, they kind of had to take the bullet for everybody, you know? They you know, they got banned, fam. They literally got banned, blood. Do you know what I mean? Like from doing what they've been doing.
And was it, and I guess, was it even really their fault as well? Because it's just the people kind of going to that. Because what happened with Garage was, obviously all the chicks were going there, all the girls were going there, and then all of a sudden you're getting man them from over here, man them from over there, and they've got a little beef or whatever, and then shit was popping off in it. But then I guess like you know, can you blame the artist for that, you know? And in the end the industry did, innit? The clubs and all that, they shut it down.
Well, there was a vendetta against them, man. Bear in mind as well, I don't like talking too much about this on like recorded things, you know, them ones, but like there's a vendetta against our music when it can't be exploited against and used against us. Do you know what I'm saying? And obviously there was things happening, you know, things spilling over from road or from, like you said, those situations. But I've seen it too many times before where it's like, you know, we're talking about gang matrix things here, bro. We're talking about, you know, Trident, you know what I mean? Like if we're forced into poverty as a people, if we're forced into a situation where to feed your family, you need to be on road, the aspiration for most people in that situation is to take that money and funnel it into something worthwhile, to make legal money, to build a life for yourself and your family. Do you know what I mean? And those setups I just mentioned exist to stop that from happening. The amount of other criminals there are in this country, bruv, who do all kinds of much higher level things and do it for their entire lives. And there's films made about them, and it's almost like treated like a comedy thing. You know, them ones like, without mentioning any specific groups, you know, them ones or whatever. Yeah. And yet when it's young black people doing it, you know what I mean, creating opportunities for next generations to step into and do things and have things, now it's a problem and these people need to be shut down because they're a menace to society. You know what I mean? How is that a thing? Do you know what I mean? Unless there's an agenda here, unless there's something going on. And I think, you know, I feel like we can talk on a level where we know what that is without having to spell it out. You know what I'm saying? So, but out of that, the opposite of this, I said that to me, the great success of that thing was grime. Do you know what I mean? Was what their man went on to go and do. And the people who sort of managed to navigate that in such a way where come like 2013, 14, you didn't need a label no more, innit? Skepta don't need no label, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, Boy Better Know don't need no labels, but they do their things. And it's like so many heads from that scene who kept going, fam, who endured, you know what I mean? Like, got to a point where it popped off all over the world. And it's mad as well. I was in China them times, yeah? And I went to Beijing and I'm out there and people are playing grime and bass music and drum and bass and jungle all over the world. And I'm like, rah, like, I don't even value this like they value this. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like the way that they loved it out there, I couldn't get my head around it. To be like, rah, you're stuck in London thinking no one's really watching. Right? I remember one brethren of mine said to me one time, I feel like Crunk was inspired by grime. Yeah. And I was like, how could that be possible? They're American. Of course, they, you know, how would they be influenced by London? They don't even know we're here, kind of thing. Because that was the attitude we were fed, didn't it? That America is everything and London ain't nothing and England ain't nothing. And I went out there and I realized they were probably right, fam. Do you know them ones? They have their ear to our sound. Because Congo Natty put it to me one time. He was like, there's at least 7 or 8 music genres that have come out of London alone. You know what I mean? like, there's not many other cities in the world that you can say 7 or 8 different musical genres have come out of them and been created by young black people and white people and other people who tap into it. You know, them ones like, maybe not just London. Let's say England.
I think London itself has fed the music worldwide for probably since like the 60s, really.
You know what I'm saying?
So one form or another.
Not alone, right? Not alone. There's other,
no, of course not. But as a major influence on music since the 60s, hands down, London has been. It's been a melting pot of
different influences, isn't it?
So yeah, there's no surprise that Americans would, you know, look at now. They're taking, you know, in New York they're doing drill music that's influenced by the English version of drill.
Yeah, they're doing the drill.
They're taking that back,
which is nuts,
taking it to New York and doing exactly the same as what English kids do.
So you got drill came out of Chicago. Why am I saying it like Chicago? Yeah.
You're just an immigrant to America. You're not American. You have to say Chicago.
It's like Chicago. Yeah. So from Chicago, and then we start doing drill here, and then but it's a different style of drill, innit? It's more you can dance to it, and then bam, now they're doing that style there.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. But yeah, it makes sense, man. Like I remember the talk about Timbaland getting influenced by jungle music, you know, when he was doing all that Aaliyah, all that sort of stuff, and it kind of makes sense, man.
I remember Snuff said to me, he said he had a picture of Tenafly, Rising Power to Tenafly,
yes, man,
with Busta Rhymes, and people were like, oh yeah, oh look, you know, and I'm not, but I love Busta Rhymes. It's no way disrespectful. Like he's an absolute legend, bro, massive influence on me and everyone, you know, them ones. But someone was like, oh, you lot met this legend, and Snuff fired back saying something like, bruv, they're both legends. You know, them ones, yeah, on equal par, yeah. And Busta has said he was influenced by the double time style that the drum and bass and jungle scene created.
Oh, he said that.
Ones, like, and it's you know, so it's like it's these things are documented now, and we can trace these things and say it. Them times there you couldn't. Like, I think people genuinely forget what it was like without the internet. You know what I mean? Or before the internet, or when the internet was like a baby, you know? Like, you couldn't just Google something and find out what someone had said about something. You know what I mean? Like, you had to sort of connect them dots yourself. And if people were invested in them dots not being connected, then you just wouldn't have the knowledge, innit? You know what I mean? True. Whereas now we know these things, you know? And a few people know. And also as well, though, like with that said as well, like through this project as well, and through like the journey I'm on, like I'm learning less and less that like, an individual doesn't invent a style, you know. It's a collective process of growth and development and change and influence, you know. And so it's a very like European capitalist mindset to be like, we made this style, you know. Because even then we talk about London, you know, the city of London didn't make the style. You get me? It's all the people in diaspora, the Punjabi influences, you know, all the different African, Caribbean, soca influences that made these styles, you know, and that's our ancestors, fam. These rhythms that we've been drumming for millennia are the rhythms that's in reggae, are the rhythms that's in soca, are the rhythms, you know, there's a reason why certain Bhangra things sound like certain Caribbean things or certain African rhythms, because they're all from a root, you know what I mean? And they've been moved and changed and developed, and you dash all them things together in London and throw in, you know, police violence and you know, not having no spaces to go, and that's how squat parties get made, innit? You know what I mean? And that's how these things come about. And so, you know, there was you can probably tell there was a time when I had a real like chip on my shoulder about, nah, how come this and that ain't getting enough props? And now it's just like, fam, we do what we do, we appreciate it. Whatever happens comes out of that. You get me? And that's why, again, like to me, when I was talking about UK hip hop and not getting it, it's underrated. It's underrated in terms of like it being commercially successful, or, you know, and the sad part of that is people like yourselves who, if you've been born in a different era, fam, you'd have number ones, you'd have platinum plaques on your wall, you know what I mean? You'd have all kinds of things, you know, them ones, and the sad part is that so many of our generation, you know, someone like Ty, who doesn't get celebrated until he passes away in the way that he should have been, you know what I mean? Like, should have been massive. They should have been living off this thing fully. I mean, like, you know, you are, but like, you know what I mean? So like, you know, the levels of people who we talk about when we talk about the Nas's and the Wu-Tangs or whoever else, you know. That to me is the only real downside, because the music is there, the quality is there, the vibe is there. Those times were, it was quite a difficult time in my life, them times, But I was talking to some people the other day as well, and like those times were fucking amazing, bro. Speaker's Corner was incredible. If you went in there in the heydays of Speaker's Corner, you wouldn't find a better event in the world. Real talk. Do you know what I mean? Like the bars and the beats and the flows, Speaker's Corner Quartet, fam. Yeah, man, like Quake and Biscuit in there.
Quake,
do you know what I mean? Like anyone who don't know about Quake and Biscuit,
fuck about fire.
You know?
Wasn't Amos with them as well? Amos Jones?
Yeah. Was he with them? Was Joe Armand Jones?
Or was it Joe Armand Jones? Nah, or I'm bugging.
But I wouldn't be surprised.
But they so much talent, like, you know, them lot definitely, and they're still doing stuff as well now.
That's me.
You know what I mean? So boy, good time. So yeah, okay, so that gives us a better understanding of how you got into it, and obviously, where did because you mentioned something about something switched, or you've always had sort of a chip on your shoulder, or you knew something was up. Like when you're saying that, you knew something was up. So in terms of the style of your music, is like quite aggressive and very much, you know, like you said, political, and also like social commentary and whatnot. How did that come into play in terms of, you know, who Apex Zero is?
I think on one level, I'm very lucky that my life wasn't harder than it is. You know, them ones, like I know people who are more on point than I am about these kinds of issues, yeah? But because they were forced into a situation where they had to do certain things to get by, they couldn't focus on that. Do you know them ones? And maybe listening to or vibing with, like, you know, more road-related things prevented them from maybe getting to a certain level of insight or knowledge in these things, right? But I was very blessed that I you know, I've been through some things, but I ain't been through a lot of things that I know people have. Do you know them ones? And you know, having to shop at 12 years old to provide for your mother. You know them ones that I didn't have to go through that. Do you know them ones? And so my father lived in my household, for example. Do you know them ones? Just what might sound like a simple thing to some people that I greatly value. And having them things, you know, my father and my mother, they're not the most politically on point people necessarily, but they taught me a lot about how the world operates. I guess more than anything to prepare me for what would come, and it came. You know what I mean? Like we would be terrorized by the police when I was a child. Do you know what I mean? They were just constantly at us. You know, from when I started driving, I was getting stopped like weekly. You know what I mean? Everyone out of the car, searching things to the point I had defense mechanisms that I would. Because, you know, I was into certain things and I was doing certain things, but I was saying to someone the other day that I had to learn how to operate in a certain way to not get caught doing certain things. Do you know what I mean? And so a lot of that came from my elders, you know, from preparing me in a certain way to be like, you do this and you don't do that. You don't give them a reason, you don't do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and having to just navigate that violence, you know, was immense, as well as the violence of you know, normal things of growing up in London, fam. Like, it was a violent time. I checked the statistics the other day because someone was talking about how it's getting worse now, and it is, you know, what's happening in the moment is mad. But the murder rate in London was highest the year I left school. Yeah, 2003, and it was a violent time, fam. And I remember just thinking, like, I guess I had a certain level of insights and I had a certain level of guidance to be like, why are we doing this? Do you know what I mean? Like, why are we doing this to each other? And then I got the lessons, right? And I said, through hip hop, bro, through Dead Prez, Dead Prez taught me who Malcolm is. They taught me who Garvey is. Do you know what I mean? They taught me about the Panthers. And just saying the names, do you know what I'm saying? Like, click these things in my head. And I remember when I left school that year, 2003, my dad gave me Soledad Brother, George Jackson's prison letters. And yeah, it just made me see, like, I'm not trying to be used, bro. Do you know them ones? Like, and unfortunately, that's what road is. Like, youngers are being used again by other people who are being used. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I'm not really trying to be that. And I was lucky enough that I didn't have to be that. You know what I mean? And so I took certain decisions, and I read certain books, and I linked to certain people, and I was just like, you know what? I'm dedicating my life to this thing, come what may. You know what I mean? And for better or worse, now I'm not saying I was on the right path. I'm not saying I'm very conscious at this age of not acting like I'm some self-righteous. I've fucked up many ways, bro. I've done many horrible things in my life to people, bro, that I deeply regret. Do you know what I mean? But it was always with an aspiration, I think, honestly, to get to this point where I'm like, I know what I'm trying to do now a lot more than I did. And I know what I'm trying to say. And a lot of the anger and the aggressiveness in a lot of my music was one, trying to on one level trying to be that bad man, but in a non-road way. Do you know them ones? And to me, like, Huey Newton is, you know, he's a fucking bad man, bro. Do you know them ones? He's just not trying to do it to his people. You get me? Like, and there was that kind of, you know, working out what the masculinity was and all that kind of things, and working out figuring out who I was and what I'm trying to achieve. But then at the same time, trying to stay on that path and figure it out, and honestly work through a lot of violence that I was living through, fam. Do you know what I mean? It was a hard time, and I feel like I've got to this point. Honestly, it feels like it was all kind of training to get here. Do you know what I mean? Because now I feel like I'm making work that is embodying who I am and is speaking to a purpose that I feel like I've been trying to get to for most of my life. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's why on this project there's a massive turning point, and the first half of the album is that still. It's the aggressiveness, it's the rawness, it's the politicalness, and then I had this massive. I think it was a journey I was walking for a while. I went to China, and I felt like I escaped from there. But again, I was lucky enough to be in a position to be able to get opportunities and jobs in China, and that freed me from a lot of the ways I was thinking that England is the world, and thinking that what's happening in England is the same all over the world, and it ain't. It's complex and it's different, and it gave me this bigger picture. But then through that, it led me to the Amazon rainforest, and big up man like Natty and Nee, who took me out there to film the documentary we made, Release the Fear, The Sacred Journey.
Release the Fear, The Sacred Journey. Yeah,
Release the Fear, The Sacred Journey, and it was Natty's album, Release the Fear. He took a bunch of us out there, and I made the film around his album. And as part of that, we went to the community of Shaman Rufino, the Piaroa people, Hotoya Piaroa people in Venezuela, and we were blessed to have this incredible Yopo ceremony. Many of these Yopo ceremonies, yeah, and it really just was like the mountain peak of that spiritual, physical growth, mental growth, to be like, right, I don't want to spend my life banging my head against Babylon and trying to, you know, break down this wall that is huge. Like, it's about trying to build alternatives. You know what I mean? Like, don't need to be in England to do that. Do you know them ones? Like, don't need to be. You know them ones, like, if we was to have a genuine social revolution in London and take the country, yeah, take it for ourselves, yeah, the people rise up. Real talk. Would you even want it? You know them ones. Would you want to run England, fam? Do you know them ones? Would you rather be back home?
Yes.
You know them ones?
Yes, the answer is yes. For me,
right,
yes.
Do the way it's supposed to be done.
Honestly, I don't know if I would anymore. I
know what you mean. I get what you're saying. But yeah, it's like, yo, you know, the thing is about looking after yourself.
Parking spaces immediately.
Oh man,
I've got it all. It's all there.
Speeding tickets.
I've got them. I've got the manifesto.
Fuck, you know,
I believe you, bro. I believe you.
Yeah, that's the worst, man. The parking tickets thing is like, bruv, really.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's in a mess, but yeah, it would need an overhaul, not like just someone to come in and go, oh, we'll just take over the system that's already there. It needs a complete major,
exactly.
Like someone needs to take the wheels off, put it up on a jack, look underneath it, probably change it. So there's loads of bits need changing.
Change the engine, everything.
New doors, we need to blow it up. Loud, even that, we need to blow it up, fam. And I think, like, honestly, the fallout from that would be so extreme. I don't think, you know what I mean? I don't even know why I go on. Do you know them ones? And honestly, if I've got a limited amount of time on Earth, I want to spend that time building something rather than trying to destroy something.
Fingers crossed, it might be getting blown up soon. So,
I mean, fam, one of the brothers in the room here, he said, the thing is, you know, it's been said many times before, but he dropped it perfectly in response to the project. He was like, this thing will destroy itself. It has to destroy itself. Do you know them ones? Like, it can't, unsustainable. Do you know what I mean? And so, like, so my thing is, if this thing's unsustainable and it's going to destroy itself, we're going to need something else. Fully need something else to be able. And honestly, if I'm going to spend my whole life and all my effort and energy doing that, I'd rather do it with my people back home, like in a place where I actually want to be. Like, I think a lot of the things with me as well is like, and it's not as simple or reductive as this. You get me? But like, so much of England and Britain to me is like Ant and Dec. You get me? And Saturday night TV. And I've never vibes with that thing. Do you know them ones? I feel like the things that have like are mostly successful here, because of the way the things are. I just don't want nothing to do with, fam. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, if that's what this country is, it's not for me. You know them ones. Like, there's a whole world out there of other things, and I can just go be there and do them things. You get me? Like, and help and learn. Again, it's not even about go there and make things better, fam. I was in Uganda. Parts of this is filmed in Uganda of the project. And when I was out there, of course there's issues there, of course there's problems, you know, them ones, but the vibrancy of that society, we was out there just in this vibrant, living culture, where people aren't just complaining about things every day and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you know? And I was just like, wow, I can't go there to tell them nothing. I'm going there to be like, teach me, fam. Like, let me be a part of this. You get me? Like, and to me, it was this big monumental shift went through this process, and it was I'm trying to move in a productive, loving, building way, as opposed to always just angry and aggressive, even if that is necessary anger. You know what I mean?
As long as it's Ant and Deckless, then anger, then.
So you remove Ant and Dec from society, I might stay.
I'll tell you, we'll remove them from society and ship them to Uganda. How'd you like that? That's just your luck.
Pretty Patel, you're talking to her.
Yeah, man, that's crazy, man. So you obviously, I've mentioned the videography stuff. Like, how did you get into that? Did you study it or?
Nah, bro, I didn't study none of this. I did study though. Again, I don't want to like create an idea that I was just on road and you know, again, I've been very lucky that I've been able to go to university. I went to go study music production at first, and the course was fucking terrible, and I just felt like I weren't learning nothing. And I was that generation when, again, I say lucky because I didn't want to go, and I was like, they're just gonna try program me. They're gonna try brainwash me. They're gonna steal my ideas, all them kinds of things, and legitimate concerns given what we go through in this country. But I went to London Metropolitan, which is now like the worst university in the country, and it was a thing where I went because they were gonna up the fees from £1 to £3, innit? And I was like, well, I'm never paying £3. I will never be able to afford that. This is like my only opportunity to do this. I should go. And I went to study music production. And I said the course was shit, so I moved over to go to study philosophy and sociology. And the first class I had was this old, like North London socialist, Richard Kirkwood, I think his name was. I might have got that wrong. And the course was racism and ethnicity. A man was just in there in the first lesson, just burning a fire on Babylon, blood, being like, yeah, racism. And I was like, right, yeah, this is what I should be doing. So I studied that. I got a master's degree in it. But then all the while I was doing that, man was doing the music in it, and out of necessity, I couldn't afford music videos. We couldn't afford music videos. My crew, first and last, couldn't afford music videos. So we was like, right, we're gonna have to make our own. And so we just got like the cheapest, the best handy cam we could afford from Argos. Again, this is how SBTV started. This is how all these, you know, RIP to Jamal. Like, we just got what we could afford at the time and tried to do a thing, innit? And I just learned by doing. You know, a lot of them, them videos aren't great. You know what I mean? Like, and again, you know, we thought they was at the time, but through that, I just sort of learned and picked up certain bits. And then when I done my first album in 2013, Global Faction was popping, innit? Really popping with the, Low Keys, Abomination and them things. Yeah. And I just felt like that was the place for me, and I will always hail up Abdul and Joel from Global Faction as if it wasn't for them, there would have been no platform for someone like me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know the SBTVs and the GRMs, whoever, they you know, they're not really out there supporting someone who's saying what I'm saying. For them, for whatever reason, I'm not even hating. I'm not saying this, you know, they're an enemy or something like that, but it's not really for me, innit? And Global Faction is for me, you know? And I approached them. I remember being very, very nervous when I approached them. So I was like, if they're not feeling what I'm doing, I've really got nowhere. Do you know, them ones, and maybe I'm just shit. You know, them ones, like, it was one of them ones. And they was just like, no, like, yeah, we're feeling what you're doing. And yeah, they just started making videos. We started making videos together, and they made like pretty much all of them, apart from my brother Slim Yearwood, who done the Double Edges videos. They were the kind of two people, and Cheaper Visuals. Those three were the people who I was working with them times, and they was feeling what I was doing, but the platform was always Global Faction. And when I was out in China, I kind of did that album and was kind of like, not I'm done with this, but like I need to go and I need to change my life basically. And I went out there for the first year, and I come back and I was like, bro, Abdul, I need you to come out here and see how fire this place is and capture some of the things that we're doing. And he was like, I can't come for as long as you're suggesting. He was like, bruv, just get a camera and do it yourself. You know, them ones, like, you've got enough skills to be able to do it. And so I just saved up my little bit of money, and I bought a 400-pound DSLR. And me and my missus went halves on it.
Shout out to me.
Yeah, I made one of my first proper videos that I made myself. Was Flying High, and it was literally just us traveling around Asia, capturing things. And again, I had to do some learning, I had to learn about some things and whatever. And then from there, Abdul was just like, fam, I like what you're doing. I thought what you're doing, like, come in and be part of the team, innit? And they brought me in after we done the Gets interview. We linked up I Am Hip Hop with Global Faction and done the Gets interview. And they were just like, yeah, like, you know, it just feels right. And so they brought me in, and just, so if someone were called up for a video, you'd either get Abdul sent, or you get Joel sent, or you get me sent, or a couple other people, do you know, them ones. And so we would, yeah. And again, that was like an intense time of learning, fam. I ain't studied these things. There's loads of shit I do not know how to do. And you just have to figure it out, you know. And again, it's guerrilla films, isn't it? You know what I mean? And so guerrilla style is self-taught. I did same with I went to go study music production, but I felt like I learned more college times from being with people in studios and just picking things up. Do you know what I mean? And so it's all this very DIY and figuring things out. But there's an ethos and a way of working that comes with that now, like, I know how to do a lot of things, maybe to a certain level. And then when I get to that level I can't get, I'll get help. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what this project has been amazing for, is that it took it to a level. I managed to get some funding in from the Arts Council, which again, bruv, to me is like it's weird talking to you about this, because I feel like even you don't know a lot of sort of things about me in these ways, right?
Yeah, man. That's why I like to do this as well, man, because it's good to get, you know, when we're out and about, it's usually, yo, we saying, yeah, you good? Yeah, how you been? And then bam, that's it, innit? But even like this is at the same time, it's like everyone's getting to know, oh, right, this is how things come about. So yeah, as you say, man. Sorry.
No, I feel exactly like that, bro. And it's one of them things where there was a time when the idea of taking money from an organization like the Arts Council, I would have refused to do it, bro. Like we got a bit of attention when we was younger, and got some people wanted to manage us and wanted to maybe sign us to these things. And some people I was working with then times have gone on to do like madness, and we were just like, go and do it, but we're not doing that. You know, them ones. And I turned down so much opportunities and so much things. And one of the reasons that I would never apply for stuff like that is like, I don't want any kind of government ties or any kind of, you know, political ties to what I'm doing, and having them having some kind of say, you know, them ones. And then I remember just some people were just like, fam, that's our money. Yeah. If it's national lottery money, who plays the lottery, fam? Poor people. You get me? Like, so they take it, and you know the maddest thing? 90% of Arts Council funding goes to opera and classical. Right? So they're taking poor people's lottery money and tax money and giving it to the two demographics that don't need no funding.
Yeah, we got to start doing
this is like Spotify though as well.
Yeah, we got to start
exactly. All Spotify's money goes to like Coldplay and Adele. It don't go to people at the very bottom.
Do you know what I'm saying? Or Joe Rogan, you know them ones, like, should be going to you. You know them ones, yeah? And then like, so someone was just like, yeah, that's our money. And I actually calculated the first lot of funding I got, if my parents played £1 a week on the lottery from when it started to when I got that funding, it's almost the exact same amount of money. Mad thing, bro. Yeah. So I was like, it's literally our money. We're just taking it back. You know, that's not saying it's not saying I'm not grateful, you know, for the decision making, but it was also timing. You know, they after 2020, they recognized that they needed to be supporting more Black artists. They needed to be supporting more varied things. You know, and them ones, people like Nee, my brother Nee, I've been fighting in them arenas to make that happen, and it's happened. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so they also started like, what was the thing? They prioritize first time applicants now. Whereas before, they kind of needed to know who you are to get it. So again, how do you get it if you're not known? You know, so this big sort of switch. The timing was quite good for me, as well as the switch in my mindset.
It's deep that you're saying this now, because I just recently heard about that. You know, so say you wanted to study a particular topic or whatever industry, you can apply to certain. Yeah, and get funded. So for music side, we've got like, you know, like they say PRS, or you can apply to, was it a Prince? Well, is it King Charles?
Prince's Trust.
King's Trust now, whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know what we call it now. But yeah, it feels weird even saying that shit. But yeah, then like in other industries, there are various different businesses, and you know what I mean, that they'll be like, yeah, they have an amount of funding for people who want to go study. So I guess it's the similar thing, in it, in terms of, so you learn about that and then decided to apply against your own will, or did you just like, nah, you know what, it's true, you know, let me get this back.
You know what it was, bro. Again, like I can't like state this enough, that I'm not saying that, you know, I've had a lot of opportunities in my life, and I've had a lot of sort of privileges, straight up, let's call it that, let's call it what it is, yeah. And one of them was, because I've been to China, I was teaching in the university out there, teaching, like, not like high level teaching English as they call it English for academic purposes. So like helping people write in English. But because I studied philosophy, they let me, I let them, we let each other, me teach a course, which is basically teaching a philosophy course in English to these really high level English speaking Chinese students. And so I learned a lot even from that. These kids were amazing, absolutely amazing students. And because I'd done that, I come back and I got a job. And that and the work I do, you know, so like the video work and other sort of artwork I do, I managed to get a job at the RCA. And so on this course called the Graduate Diploma, where it's a course where people can if you've done something else in your life, but now you want to do art, you know, and you want to go to the RCA, but maybe you're not quite at a certain level, or maybe your English level ain't quite good enough or whatever, then you take this course to be able to get onto, or to, you know, not just to get onto that course, but to go and do these other things. And I got brought into that course, and the people on there are absolutely amazing, like incredible artists, incredible people, educators from all these sort of different fields and walks of life. And like I said, I never went to art school, I never went to film school, I didn't know, but being there at that moment,
something clicked.
I realized what the potentials of this thing, do you know, them ones, and sort of got to learn about certain things, you know. And yeah, it was just kind of, I'm looking at my work and I'm saying to myself, I feel like I've never really vibed with the music industry. I've never really done it, and I've tried to do these other different things, and I felt like, there's people kind of doing things that resonate a bit more with what I'm on, and then my eyes got open to certain opportunities. And again, like, I'm not, you know, the RCA it's a wonderful, hideous institution, bro. And again, the idea of me working at an institution again for many years of my life, I would have just been like, no, I'm not doing it. And I just didn't ever strive to do them things, yeah? And then I come in there, and within 3 months, students doing work in blackface, you know, them ones. And there's all this other fuckery just like emerging. And I was like, right, if I'm here, I better do something about this. And if I'm gonna be here, I've got a certain knowledge base. I need to be making it worthwhile and productive. And so, you know, we've got to a point now because of people like Roxanne Simone, people like, you know, these amazing people, Akua McMorris, who are involved in this project I'm doing as well. We've been fighting to make it better for not just black people, but working class people. And but it's a fucking expensive university. You have to pay a bunch of money, and therefore it's mad elitist. You know, them ones. And we've worked hard on getting scholarships for black students, for working class students, to level out the playing field a little bit more. And again, so it's like, again, if I'm going to be somewhere like that, if I'm going to be in a Babylonian institution, I need to be making it better for us to be able to siphon out resources, you know, like, and that's what I do. And so, but then from that, I also learned a lot. And it was like, yeah, let me take advantage of these things, you know, them ones. And so got this funding. And man like Mutti, my sis Steph B in particular, who produced it, they're connected to the dance scene. And originally I went to them and said, I want you lot to dance in the music video for this thing I'm making. And they were like, nah, like, let's really chop this up. I call them to like Yoppo and Cappy, yeah? Because that's the things, when you do the Yoppo ceremony, you put them two together, innit? The Yoppo doesn't necessarily do something on its own. The Cappy doesn't do nothing on its own. You put them together, you have this amazing spiritual experience. And so we sat down in a cafe in Hackney and they was just like, right, what are you saying? Bang, 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 bang. And they just started talking through the things I've been reading, the ideas I was having. And that was 3-4 years ago now, yeah? And it went a thing where from that conversation, we've made this thing. And it's just been this snowballing of the more people we've brought in, the more people we've worked with, the dancers, they were connected to the dancers, I'm connected to these artists, the filmmakers. And it was just like putting people together. As the story built itself and as the ideas built itself, it just weighed on and made more things and made more things. And we were like, right, we're trying to be as expressive as possible. We're trying to tell as many different stories as possible. There's all these techniques I've been sort of honing throughout my life and developing throughout my life. And now they're really coming to use. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I wanted to push it to a level where I make music, I make film, they make dance. I know painters, I know art, I know metal smiths, I know photographers, and I'm meeting them for all these things that I'm doing. And we're vibes in a way where it's not like, let's make money together. It's like, let's tell powerful stories. You know what I mean? We all, the collective ethos that we have is the work is the work. You know what I mean? The work is what's important, regardless, right? Yeah. That is success. Making powerful work is success in itself. Do you know what I mean? If that can then serve our community, that's perfection. You know, them ones. If then out of that, we can use it to make some kind of piece. And the thing is, it's not even about the piece, because the majority of the funding that we've got has been given to other people. It's been given to other artists. Do you know them ones? It's been given to them to come in and do the work. And so it's not about me making money or them making money. It's about feeding a community of people. And like I said, we did this at Village 101 at a time when most of the people in the first film especially are professional dancers who had no way to make money. They'd spent their whole lives getting themselves to the point where they could live off their artwork and off their practice, and that was taken away from them. Wow. You know them one. And we took money from this government institution and we gave it to people who needed it, and they gave us work in return, you know? And so to me, that is a flex. You know, them ones
definitely
like, it's not about just getting money from the government. It's about taking resources from massive institutions that don't need it, that's already taken from us, and giving it to our people and making phenomenal work out.
Yeah, and it's there for the people anyway. Like you said, it's like, but the whole point is for people to know that they can apply for it, which is what I was leading to with talking about it before, is the fact that I didn't know about all of that. Like so I don't think we even just have to, we can only apply to say people like PR or, organizations like PRS or whatever. It can be other organizations as well, as long as you can present that you've got a project that really said something, you know what I mean? Like means something. So that's pretty amazing. So I guess people probably wondering what project we were talking about, man. You lot talking about this project. It's called the Drummer Warrior Storyteller. So it's originally a visual album. Is that correct? Can you explain that then? How does that work?
Yeah, so Drummer Warrior Storyteller, it started off as 2 EPs. Yeah. So I come back from China. I did a project called All and Nothing, and then I was kind of in this sort of weird zone where I didn't really know what I was doing. Something
happened in China, innit? Because we keep going back to China. Something happened in China, like a switch.
Bro, it did. Honestly, fam, it was liberating. It was liberation, bro. Like I spent so much of my life angry and just like raging about the situation that we was in. I did one interview one time for my first up for Reality Provoking Liberation, and the woman who was interviewing me, we're talking about all the politics, and then bang, out of nowhere, she's like, "What makes you happy?" And I couldn't answer, bro. I was just silent for about 5 minutes thinking about what makes me happy, and that's fucked up. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of things am I dealing with if I can't even, that takes me 5 minutes to figure out something that might make me happy. You know what I mean? And eventually I said something, I said like, oh, I like to travel, I like to see new places, you know, them ones. But happiness is a selfish emotion because there's children in the Congo who are going through this thing and I can't be happy until they're happy. And it's like, bruv, that's bullshit. I mean, it's true. The fuckery that's happening to people all over the world is true, bruv. But like, fam, there was love and intimacy on a slave ship. Fam, we laughed and we sang on plantations, fam. You know what I'm saying? Like, when they've murdered your children for nothing on the plantation, somehow our ancestors at some point still smiled and laughed, bruv. You know them ones. So who am I to say I can't be happy? You know them ones. Like, what kind of life is that to live? You know what I'm saying? And so it was yeah. I was like, I need to change my life. I need to get out of here. And I went to China, and it was like, I can't express how liberating it was, bruv, to just be away from this place and in a completely different culture where, again, and again, it's not to minimize anything that anyone's going through. Like, this idea that everyone in China is like hideously oppressed. And there is obviously things happening there that I greatly disagree with. But again, me being in a privileged position as a foreigner in that society, I kind of just rolled around doing as long as I don't break the law, I can basically do what I want. You know them ones, like, and we were just partying, fam, like properly partying. Like, I got involved with this drum and bass crew, the Syndicate. My brothers who started an organization called DB Bros, and later Chinaman Yard. Like, I was there at a time when everyone who was there in that scene was either the first real generations of Chinese kids who had a window into the outside world. And all this music and culture was flowing in with a bunch of like students and foreigners who were out there working or studying and were just there for a vibe, innit? And you put them things together, fam, the raves were differently sick. Yeah. The festivals were differently sick. And again, Snuff put me on. So Snuff come out there to do a show with Nancy and Phoebe. Yeah. And he was just like, bro, do you want to jump on the mic? And I was like, of course I do. Jumped on the mic. We just shelled down one set. And then one of the brothers was like, bro, we need an MC. We need you. Come to this thing. And it wasn't even, you know, them ones, I feel like I spent so long trying to figure this thing out in England. And within 3-4 months of not trying, man's playing the biggest, like, bass music festivals in the country. Man's touring China. Man's touring Asia. You get me? Without trying.
That's crazy, man.
You get me? Because it's just, again, I don't vibes with this country. I vibes with that scene. You know, them ones. And I wasn't saying no to everything. I was saying, yeah, come then. You know, them ones. It might not have been perfect. It might not, and you know, but it was what I wanted to do. And I was just like, yeah, instead of saying, no, I'm not doing that. Nah, ban this place. It was like, yeah, come we do it. Let's go. Let's see what happens. You know? So that shift of like, not shutting things down, but opening up possibilities, that was the start of that thing, which like kind of solidified in me in the Amazon with the Yoppo. You get me? And
yeah, we're gonna get to talk. We're gonna talk about the Yoppo in a bit, man. We'll get in this album part. You know what I mean? The important part is that album. So I was telling people Iba game. For some reason, I was saying Iboga, like you're hip to Iboga, but I was wrong in it. It's Yoppo.
Yeah. I haven't done Iboga. I'd like to do it. I plan to do it. But yeah, Yoppo was the thing.
You see the seriousness in his face when he said, I plan to do it. Yeah. Nah, I'm the same, man. I'm the same, for real. All right, so where were we at? We were at so it's the LP, right? So how it came together, like how you managed to put together a visual LP.
Yeah, so I was promoting All or Nothing, and I was on Parky's show, and they had me on there, and again, me and Parky, I never really knew him like that, but we just got on, you know, them ones, and I was like, rah, like,
shout out to Parky, man.
Your beats have always been banging, you get me? Yeah, big up Michael Parkinson all day, bro. Like, and so I was like, yeah, let me get some beats, and I just, you know, he does the beat sales, and he was just like, rah, you know, with vibes, and I'll give you a bit of a discount, whatever. I just cop some beats in it, so I copped some beats, and I was like, you know what? These times now, it's you know, it's all about doing short projects. No one wants to listen to albums, you know, fully going against what I'm really about, you know, them ones. So tried to make some EPs, and 5 years later, man's got this. You get me? Yeah. So again, be true to yourself. You get me? And yeah, as I was making it, I started on this thing, and I called in people I was vibing with, so man like Watusi and Magical from RU1. I started Sheriff, Crazy Hayes is on there. Do you know what I mean? We just started building the thing up, yeah. Logic, you know, them ones, Big Cakes. So started building the thing up as I normally would, but with now people I've always wanted to work with, and I've got sort of different confidence about myself. So I'm just not, you know, I'm not being like, oh yeah, maybe they won't. I'm just like, yo, bruv, do you want to do this thing? If you say no, it's cool.
Yeah,
call someone else. You know, them ones, we're just vibes, and I'm just, yeah, we're doing this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I started being like, I make films. I should be making films. I should be doing something with this. And then when I went to go check Mutti and Steph when the thing was nearly done, and they you know, did this Yoppo moment for me and opened my mind up to do these other things. And then in the middle of that, I heard Chinua Achebe say, his understanding of storytelling is that the drummer calls the people forth. The warrior goes forth and fights the war, but it's the storyteller who outlives the other two, creates history and gives meaning to those who survive. Yeah. And when I heard those words, and he said them in 1987, the year I was born, I was like, that's what I've been trying to do my whole life. Be all three of those. Yeah. I've been trying to make music, make sound that inspires people whilst actively trying to be on, you know, an activist and, you know, involved in certain political movements and make change. And I never thought of myself as a storyteller MC. Like, you know what I'm saying when I say a storyteller MC, the Slick Ricks and the Biggies and the Rayquans, you know what I'm saying? And I never thought of myself as that. I saw myself as a barist, innit? I just bar, yeah? And I realized that's what I've been trying to do. So I was like, right, let me accept that about myself and let me try to do that to the best of my ability now and be all three of those things and make a body of work that does those things. And so, like I said, they encouraged me to go for the funding. I went for the funding, and then I was like, right, I've got this thing. And, you know, you know, in terms of making a visual album, you know, Lemonade by Beyonce, you know, going back to Purple Rain with Prince is arguably a visual album. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and so it's not like it's a completely original thing. But I think what makes what we're doing slightly different is then we took it further. So it was going to be music and film. And then through the filming process, one of the cinematographers I was working with was a brilliant photographer called Akua McMorris. And she has a series called Blacklight, where she took portraits of her family members in like this really low level, dark light. And so it's kind of like black people in black and white in a black world with this tiny bit of light that's just sort of showing them, and they're beautiful. And her whole thing is that if she made these photos so that if you see them in a gallery space, you can't really see what they are, and you have to get close to understand, to see what it is. And so this idea that if you're black, we need to get closer to ourselves and each other to understand ourselves and each other. If you're not of our community, you need to get closer to us to be able to understand who we are and to learn about us and not be afraid. Do you know them ones, yeah? Blew my mind. I was like, this woman is phenomenal. So I brought her in as one of the cinematographers, and we created portraits out of the characters of the people who were in the film. We call them the ancestors because they're channeling sort of ancient future ancestors. And so she was there originally to do the cinematography for the filming, but she's like, well, I might as well take some pictures as well. Took the pictures. So now we've got music, film, photographs. One of my students at the time, who was also friends with Mutti, Dora Lamb, came through. She does live painting. So on the jazz scene, you might come across her as some things you do with the band. Yeah, she has like a sort of connection with jazz cafes. So she'll be there, and certain jazz bands, she'll paint them as they perform. All right. And so I brought her in. She painted us whilst we were filming. Captured this incredible moment where we had Orisha priestesses in the space. Because again, we can't just say we're shooting the ancestors. We needed to channel them into the space in the real ways, So in proper Igbo, Yoruba, Akan traditions, we had the Orisha priestesses in who come and channel the ancestors in, and we captured it. You get me, yeah? And then I wanted, the first half is very much about the sort of the violence that we go through as a people, and the pain and the struggle and the grind, and we made these beautiful ways of expressing that. And then the second half, I was like, you know what, I need to show that that's not all that we are, because one thing that was really important for me recently is, you know, Get Out, obviously, Jordan Peele, Get Out, yeah.
Oh yeah.
The original ending of that film, you know, when my man comes to the end and his brethren comes in, you think it's the police, but it's his brethren. Yeah. Originally, that was going to be the police and they were going to shoot him. Yeah. And if that had been the ending of that film, I would have been like, yeah, that's exactly what life's like. Yeah, man, fuck this shit. Oh, it's fucked, innit? Everything's fucked. And I'm so grateful that he changed that ending, because I left that theater, that cinema, gassed. I was, bruv, you know, once when you watch it, everyone was cheering at the end, like, yeah. If you watched it with black people, especially, bruv, yeah, everyone's there just like gassed that my man made it out and survived, innit? Yeah. And to me, it was like it's a great way to demonstrate how art. Yes, what did Kweli say on that thing? He says, the way we put it down is how it is and how it could be. Yeah, that line has always stuck with me. Yeah, from Reflection Eternal. Yeah. And it's like, I feel like Jordan Peele created a window in there to be like, it's not just how it is. Like Boys in the Hood, you know, all them things, them films, as much as I love them, it was like, it was hot, it was raw, innit? It was like, this is how life is. It's, you know, what did Ice Cube call it? Ghetto journalism kind of vibes. You get me, yeah? To let people know that we're here and this is what we have to go through. What I feel like what's happening now is this shift of being like, this is what we have to go through, but let's try to create something different, yeah? So I was like, I want to do shit like that. And so the first part of the film, I feel, aims to do something like that. But then the second half is very much like, it starts with the Yoko ceremony and it's changing of my mindset, and then goes into my, you know, overstanding. I live life. I want to live a life. I want to live a good life, an important life, a happy, joyful life. You get me, yeah? And I've reflected now. I know what love is in a way that I didn't when I was younger, you know? But then also out of that, you don't gain that insight to just sit on it and have a good time. You do that to then do something with it, to keep fighting, but fighting with love. You know, and then wants to be fighting with productivity to make something better and to improve and to grow and to create. And so the second half is all about that. And through that process, my sister, Roxanne Simone, brilliant metalsmith, she forged a sculpture that is in a reverence to our people. That it's a cutlass. She made a cutlass that is will be etched with family photos and lyrics of the track. And we went up to Sheffield with these great guys, GT Blacksmiths, and made this thing. Yeah. And the reason we chose a cutlass was that it was something that was used to oppress us and put us on the plantation. We then used that to uprise and, you know, cut off the heads of slavers. And then we used it to then cultivate our new lands, right? And our new countries. And so that was forged out of it. I met a wonderful woman. And again, bro, the way this is being guided, like at Ebo's dedication event, I was wearing a piece that I got from one of the sisters that I drum with. And this woman was stood next to me and was just like, I really like that. We started talking, find out we know mutual people. Yeah. And I looked at her work and it was like, you're phenomenal. And I don't know if you've seen the picture of me wearing that big rope chain. You'll see it on the day. Like, she just gifted me this thing to use as part of the thing. So it's now I've got 2 metalwork pieces. You get me? We took more photographs out of that.
Yeah. I see it.
It's a mad thing, bro.
Right.
You know, phenomenal. Lucy Gledhill, phenomenal.
Yeah, it's quite big, isn't it?
Yeah, blood. Like, I literally messaged her and I was like, your work's amazing. That piece is incredible. It's like Slick Rick ready. And she was like, how about Apex Zero ready? And I was like, what? You know, that was like, are you serious? Like, obviously I can't afford that. You know, them ones. And she was just like, well, you know, you can just use it. You know, them ones. And it's like, again, it's like, I feel things like that when you're moving in this way, you know, when the ancestors and the Most High are guiding what you're doing.
Yeah, things happen.
Build and create, not rip down. Things like that happen. You know, them ones. And so all of these different artifacts, all of these different things, as well as the people who've been shooting the previous exhibitions that we've done, is all going to be in the thing. So the way I envision it is that when you enter the space, you're in the album. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've expanded what an album might be and have made it into a universe that you enter into and experience, right? And so to take that then to a next level, we have exhibitions and film screenings, then these things that you're in that world. And then again, Muti being Muti, my man's like, bro, we need to make this into a real stage show. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a band together. You get me? We're going to perform. We're going to do these things. And he was like, no,
Stay closer to the mic, because when you go further away, it kind of it does this stutter thing.
All good.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, he was like, we need to, no, it's all good, bro. He was like, we need to turn it into a theatre show. And so again, he's hollowed up his peoples, and the community have come through, but we've got these incredible dancers. My brother Tile is going to be doing the sound. We've got an incredible drummer called Demba, who, if anyone if you know, bro. Like, this guy's a dundun player from Senegal, and the powers this brother has are unparalleled when it comes to drumming. Yeah, another master musician called Musa Dembele. He goes with a Koreleko band on Instagram. He's playing the kora and drumming with us as well. I've got my people who are drumming from Ukombozi Ancestral Drums. Grace, Corey, and Andre are the dancers.
Wait, say that again.
They are
sorry. We're having there's a bit of problem with the sound coming from your end. I don't know what it is. It's just crackling up every time you start talking. Hold on, let me just close another window down to make sure it's not this end. Yeah, carry on.
So you're saying a big shout out to
Grace, Corey, and Andre, who are the dancers we've got involved. They're just phenomenal. I shouldn't just say the dancers. I need to say their names. You get me? Because they're power. And then, so all these musicians, all these artists are coming through. And yeah, bro, like, again, like, putting me out of my comfort zone. It was like, I don't write scripts. So all of the films and stuff I've done has been very much like we work together as a community to figure the thing out, and it's very organic. And then people were like, well, we need a script in it. You know what I mean? I can say I don't write scripts, but then you need a script. And so we had to work on this. And we've had 5 weeks to do this whole thing, because we got the Arts Council funding confirmed 5 weeks from the event day. And so we've had to, we were working towards doing it, but I couldn't say to people like, definitely you're in, or definitely we're doing this, because I didn't get the funding confirmed. And when I got it confirmed, it was like, boy, we've actually got to do this now. Yes, we can do it to a higher level than we would have done, but we got 5 weeks to pull this thing off. Them ones. And it's going to be fucking spectacular. But it's, you see the bags under my eyes, my G. Like,
you've been putting in the graft.
But it's all part of it, fam. I wouldn't rather be doing anything else. Them ones. And I wanted to say at the start, but it was a bit techie, bro. But like, I genuinely appreciate you, bro, reaching out to me to talk about this, bro. Like, seriously,
good,
like the amount of effort and work and literal blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into this. Like, I feel like, again, me in my younger days with this chip on my shoulder, I felt very much like heads from your generation didn't reach out to us in the same way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that I felt like I wanted them to. I felt like we were 16, 17-year-olds coming through, spitting fire. And I was waiting for someone to be like, yeah, man, come through. Let's make a crew. Let's da-da-da-da-da. And people did. And I'm not going to, a man like Manage and stuff. And then people did. And the big one was, Ty later on really, gave me a lot, bro. And it's just like, again, maybe I wasn't ready them times. Maybe I wasn't open enough them times. And it's very easy to be like, oh, that generation should have done this or whatever. But I realized as well, you lot was still trying to make it, innit? Or trying to build a world for yourself. Do you know them ones? And it wasn't like where you had the Wu-Tangs or whoever else to make a label, or the Jay-Z's to make a label to do a bunch of other man. You get me?
And even on top of that, even you saying that, is like, the other thing is we didn't have that either, or I didn't anyway. I didn't have no one kind of guiding me in a way so I can understand the business a bit more, or how I should move or whatever. So exactly what you're saying. I'm still trying to find my way and be like, and I helped a few people, but then at the same time, I don't even know where I'm going. So there's only so far I can take you, you know what I mean? Until it's the blind leading the blind, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, I can't do that.
Exactly, bro. Exactly.
But man, I've posted apexzero.co.uk so people can check out a bit more to understand about this Drummer Warrior Storyteller project that's about to happen, man. So it sounds like there's a lot. The production, is definitely going to be something, like you said, spectacular. Like something we ain't really seen, especially in our, you know what I mean, in our community. Like, so in terms of like putting it together, was it a case of like, did you already have like a skeleton of what you wanted to do, or because obviously it's a visual album anyway, did you just like translate what was going on in the visual work into something live? You know, how does that work?
Like yes and no, because again, like I'm not a theater director, bro.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering, like how
you get me.
Yeah.
But Mutti is, do you know, that brother is a powerful brother, and you hear me? Yeah. And so he's been working in that sphere. Like, man, he was in Black as King. He was in Cats.
I see.
Do you know what I mean? He's done all this madness, and he's only 20-something years old. Do you know them ones? Wow. Yeah. And so he like, you know, his belief in this thing and his vision, it was just like, yeah, fam, like if you think you can do this, what it was, yeah, he was originally gonna, he has a very good relationship with Richmix, so he wanted to book out the entire building to do the festival, and then they were like, the only time you can do that is December. And he was like, nah, it's too close to Christmas, too cold, all that. Like, what can you do earlier? And they were like, we can give you one space on the 29th of October. And he was like, I don't know if I'm feeling that. And I was like, bro, take it and we'll sort something out. Do you know them ones? And we did. And then we got all the funding moving. And he was just like, right, we're going to do this in this way. And again, the ethos of this is very, very collective, bro. It's not just like he's directing and that's it. Do you know them ones? Like, everyone is giving themselves to this, bro. All three of the dancers, they got solos that they're programming, and it's like he has this incredible way of bringing the most out of people, including myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, so again, finding people who really know what they're doing. Having him on board as the man just turned up at the right time. See
Yeah, that's crazy, man. He just turned up.
That's what he does, bro. That's what he does, fam. That's heavy. The universe guided him here, bro.
Yes, man. Moment. We're hearing about the work, brother. That's good to hear, man.
Thank you, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. Fam, it's one of them ones where, so it's like all the way throughout this thing, I feel like the ancestors and the Most High, they've just been guiding people to the thing. Yeah, and the right people have been in the right place at the right time to be involved, and I realize how much of a beautiful community of people I have around me. And again, it's not like they're just helping because there's money involved. Like people before we got the funding, people already said they're doing it no matter what. You know them ones, and so it would have been something, but now we got this, we can turn it into something epic. Do you know them ones? Like, so he's got this vision. I needed to find a projection mapper. Literally went into my work, and my friend Whiskey Chow, who again is another amazing artist, was just like, well, I know these projection guys, give them a call. Bang, here they are. You know, them ones like, oh, we need a visual artist. He knows someone, we get him in to do the live stream. I was like, I went on his Instagram, checked his work. Man's an amazing visual artist. Daniel, he's in, you know, them ones all the way through, people are just sort of resonating with this thing and being like, yeah, I want to be involved. How can you be involved?
Wow.
And it's got to the point where with someone like my guy being able to orchestrate these things, different people in different roles that they're playing, being able to orchestrate. My sis Kongwa Shon and Akuma Morris again, and her sister Kong Min Shon are creating this thing. And they get like, Kongwa Shon is the person who now, she did at the new Meta offices in King's Cross, she designed the inside of that place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She's a phenomenal visual artist, yeah? And she's just here as my friend, as my sister, being like, right, we're curating this thing, we're going to do this thing, and she would have done it for free. Do you know them ones? And it's like, again, just people like this who I've been able to resonate with and vibes with and connect with. They're all playing their parts, and we're all playing our parts within this thing to turn it into something spectacular. And I just know, fam, it's just like the ancestors have got our backs. This work is purposeful, and it's big, and it's important. And I'm not saying that to be like boastful. Yeah? I'm not saying like, I'm saying that because the evidence is on all the stuff that's been happening and what we've been doing, you know? And so, I think there's something about that when you're, it feels like when you're on the right path to where you're actually really trying to get to, and you're moving with purpose, the things align, you know? And they move, and the ancestors who've got your back have got your back when you acknowledge them and you recognize that they're there doing it, you know? And so I don't know if you want to talk about the performance. Bro.
I just wanted to just add it, just off the sentiment and echo that, it's like, it feels as if everything rises into place. Instead of it feeling like it falls into place, it's like you actually get the best work out of people. So when they rise into place, they've been waiting to meet a depth of wealth that can allow them to donate themselves and feel like this is one of the works they've been preparing for their whole life. When you've got multiple different people from the griots and poets saying, you know, I've been waiting my whole life to do a production like this.
Wow.
And you're getting, you know what I'm saying? And you're seeing that.
I got to pause there because I'm adamant. I've got to shout everyone out. So Poetica and Guy Kelton Jones, these poets are spectacular. You know what I mean? And so to have someone like that say, I've been waiting for something like this my whole life. Wow, you know how much that means to someone like me. You know, them ones who, like I said years ago, I didn't feel like I had a place in any of this. You know, them ones, like it's powerful. Sorry, bro.
And I guess also like what that is it's a testament to like brothership and the strength that can happen with two big lions, with both our own raw and our own leadership that can come together and find a balance, and where one attribute and another attribute can balance each other and strengths and weaknesses. And the way I know that Apex will always come through is by the measure of his actual integrity, of who he is to his core as a person. So it's not questionable at all. So I know ultimately from that and the amount he's invested in himself and the level on which he practices his art and delivers it to the people without any need of anything like surface layer in return, that means his heart is pure. That means his cause is true. And for me, I'm very much only invested in people who have that level of honor and have that level of integrity, because then I know what I will give will be tenfold. Because it can never be measured in money and finance. I do it for the pure sense that we need to raise this in the collective consciousness. We need to find a shared space where these themes, these issues can be discussed, and they can also be alchemized through art as a vehicle.
Beautiful.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm here, like, that's what I'm here to do, to synthesize all of these experiences for people and to begin to allow people to feel that as a language that we can move through rather than a kind of blockade that keeps on going. It's like, how can we develop that language, that dialect, instead of it feeling like, oh, I'm getting stuck at the basics of this language of English or whatever it is, you know? So again, like, I have the joy of being able to be the creative director on this project and the choreographer. And from seeing this vision being conceived in a cafe in Hackney, where Apex has seen me deliver work on such a degree, and seen the person that I've trained up to be a producer deliver something on such a degree, and he's handpicked us and been like, I know that you two are the people that I can entrust this to. And then as soon as he starts to share his preparation of it, I go, I see all the missing pieces already. You've given it to me in a way that I can see it, and I can see whatever is missing and a piece that needs to be added to it. So again, that becomes like a natural solution that is happening throughout this process, where we're coming to people and saying, this is the vision, and they're going, I get it straight away. I get it. You don't have to over-explain things to people. And then sometimes when you think, if you have to over-explain it, it's like, well, are you having to like connect out of self, or is there any part of you that's having some sort of other agenda? When they actually come into it and they rise into it, there's this selfless nature, this higher sense of purpose and service that happens, where it's not about the I, it's about the I and I, you know? And when that happens, it means that we're just so much stronger together. So again, like, as a creative director, you know, I've been able to creative direct music videos, short films. I've been able to creative direct like full festival experiences, like day events and all of these things. But to be able to go back to one of my artistic homes, Richmix, which I was there as a young person in a youth dance company, and see all these professional works happen, being in an environment where I can observe it, to now come to a point where the last time actually we were there, we were doing Hip Hop Palace, which is one of my shows. And I remember I got this brand partnership from Continent Clothing, shout out Continent Clothing, and we started working only with black designers. We got them to sponsor us a bunch of jackets. And I got Apex in this luxury, what is like epic, like long coat that was in gold, and it was filled all the way up here, but like metallic gold. And then he had still had his EO Dog t-shirt on. And he was like, yeah, I've never been to a show where someone's ever dressed me like this. And I was like, you know what I mean? And he was like, right, is this how we're running things now? And I was like, yeah, this is how we're running things now.
Bruv, as well. Bruv, you know me as well, blood. Black and camel.
That's what I'm cracking up when he's saying about the shady.
And that's what I'm saying. Back in the day, I would have been like, no way am I wearing that. You know them ones? And I come back with this different attitude and like, right, let's run it. You get me, man?
That's good
print, gold robe, like.
Gold robe, you know, shiny gold robe, boy, with the frills and that. Like, he snuck the frills in there. I heard the frills part. I was like, oh. But then still thug it out with the EO Dub t-shirt, like.
Yeah, thug it out.
That's sick, man.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's this nature of like, as an artist, how do you work with teams that have different lenses in which to build an experience that can be like monumental to someone's life?
This is what I wanted to ask, because obviously it's a different light in terms of you can do a visual album. All right, these are videos. I'm going to shoot music videos. But then now you're going to bring it to a live element. How difficult was it to sort of, because obviously you've worked in the theatre world as well, how difficult is it to adjust to make things work in that sense? So, you know, all the choreography and whatnot, you've got to think about how people are seeing it. Was that a big task, like a big mission to deal with?
Yeah, like even to this day, yeah, we were doing this with such a, like we wanted to cover all fronts, let's just say, yeah. To the point where we're doing a live show and we're trying to do a live stream with 3 different cameras, where one camera is pinned at the top, back, and we're going to have a camera operator with designated areas so we can follow the magic and anyone across the road can tune in. So we were actually like, I was having this constant debate when I was coming to light the show, and it's like, well, you can either light it for cinematic effect or you can light it so everyone can clearly see it for live streaming. And one or the other is going to lose in some sort of finish at the end of it. But when it comes to the choreography, I have this point now where the different disciplines I have, when I am, because as a visionary, let's just say as a creative visionary, as soon as I'm working with Apex and we're talking about the ideas and he's sharing me, because the thing is, when he's already got the music, all of it is encrypted in the music. So all I have to do is be an open vessel to receive what it wants to do through me. And as soon as that happens, instantaneously, I put on a voice note, I put a voice note phone, and in the discussion, I have like a mini think tank where I can openly speak about what visions are coming to me and what I see. And then I speak and I say this, and he's like, yeah. And his body language, his inner self will affirm whether that is something that feels aligned or not. And through that, we have this back and forth response. And then I will go back and listen to that 10, 15-minute voice note and go, all right, let me write this down into a script and an outline. And then when it comes into the script and outline, it's about knowing how to paint with what brush, what color, at what moment, that then either supports, contrasts, or like takes away from what is already the substance there in the music. And then again, it's coming to this moment where you can refine and say, okay, we don't need to do as much. So when it's coming to the movement, it's about knowing, like, when you've got visuals and bodies moving and you've got the music being done and you're trying to use 2 different sides of the space, you're actually having to guide the audience's attention from one moment to another, using lights, using choreography, using visual animation, and then at the same time be aware that Apex at the same time is saying specific lyrics that can trigger or enhance people's experience in that moment. So you have to have this constant, like, kind of feedback loop, let's just say, a feedback loop to the fact that there's actually truth already stated. There's truth already stated. And I can either dress up the truth and make it look pretty, or I can intensify it and give it like a deeper personification through like raw intensity of the body, or we can start to use imagery in a way that takes people to like flashing back and remembering times of like things that weren't explained in history or history lessons. So it's like how to bring, and I'm a very firm believer of living from now this quantum reality where we are actually living timelines that were once separated and are now coming and converging together, and we're creating a timeline of this new earth. And I spent the beginning part of this year going specifically to ancient Kemet in Egypt to research my newest work, A New Earth Mythos. And I thought originally my work was going to come out from my performance company, but then it's now manifested to really create a New Earth Mythos, has manifested in 2 powerful black works that can stand up to resolve the narrative that was given to us and force-fed to our younger generation, so that can have I was going to say a revolution, but a revelation of both, you know what I'm saying? A revelation that people from this moment now can feel unshackled by that in their imagination, unshackled by that in their connotation to the idea, and actually remember this ancient future that is now recalling itself, and where we can really enhance our spiritual wealth. And the artistry is where you show that it seamlessly comes together in a way that is like stitched into this like interwoven, beautiful tapestry where they can look at it and go like, wow, is this a prophecy, or is this us living our prophecy? You know what I'm saying?
And this is the thing,
Powerful.
Bro, it's like, it's a thing where when you hear a man talk like that, and we have these back and forths all the time, where them things he said about different realities and quantum realities, it's like, to me, before the Yopo ceremonies, these things were things that like, I believed as concepts. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the idea of manifesting something. Do you know them ones like, okay, I see how that could work. Do you know them ones like, oh, we're all one. Yeah, I kind of get that. You know them ones like, and then from being leveled up in that way, it's no longer, you know, Marley says, brothers, you should know and not believe. It's that. I know this now. You get me? I'm moving in such a way where it's like, it's not a theory. Yeah. Man's moving with this purpose. And as a result of that, all of these things are coming, you know. And again, it's not, and it's not to be like, again, I don't say none of this to be like, this is me making this thing happen. Yeah, like it. My brother Demba, the Dundun drummer, he put it the other day. Is like the moment you try to say that it's yours, you lose it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's not yours. This is the Most High and ancestors working through us, fam. And man will never try to go on like this is art. Yeah, okay, my name's on it. You get me? But that's because I've been, you know, I'm the one who's. This is coming through. Do you know, them ones like you have to put a name on certain things. You have to you have to, you know, to get the funding. I've got to put my name on the form. Do you know, them ones like, but fam, this is honestly, it's bigger than it. It's bigger than us. It's bigger than even just this moment, fam. And you know, I did a thing with Underground Bars, this spoken word platform on Monday, and I says to them, I feel like my generation, it was all about everything's mash up, everything's mash up, everything's mash up, yeah? And with this generation, it's everything's mash up, so can we do something about it? Do you know them ones? And not just like, let's do something about it. They're making things. Do you know what I mean? Like the thing, I feel like the difference now is not just saying what the problem is. It's not even just saying this might be a solution. It's like, well, let's go about creating it. And if we fuck up along the way, cool, we'll fix that. We'll deal with that. You know them ones? Like, to me, it's just a very... Despite all of the madness that's happening in the world right now, in the country, you get me? Because I'm tuned into a certain way of things being done and certain communities, and again, not really looking at the mainstream, bro. Not really looking, and again, it's not even just like to play down what anyone else is doing, yeah? If you was to look at mainstream news, for example, you'd think the world is fucked, completely and utterly fucked, and nothing else is happening. Do you know, them ones like, but here we are doing this thing. We are here building alternative communities, fam. I'm like, between Global Faction, I Am Hip Hop, Village 101, Breakfast Jam and Break Dance Project Uganda, all of these different communities that have weighed into this, Crucible, you know what I mean? All these different, and again, they don't even all align necessarily. There's people who probably would not even get on in these different communities or would have issues and have, you know, EO dub, do you know them ones? It's not about everyone agreeing and everyone thinking the same thing and therefore being the same. Like, it's about celebrating the diversity of our differences. Do you know them ones? And we can still be different and act different and think different and exist in different ways, but still move with purpose to improve the world. Because, you know, you can't just have this utopian vision, and if it's not that, it's not perfect. You know, fam, we accept that things ain't perfect, innit? We're all flawed and we're all fucked up and everything's, you know, but we're trying. We're trying to do a thing.
You know what I mean?
You get me?
And even when I was saying this in the presentation, it's like diversity is the hallmark of a healthy ecosystem.
Straight.
And if you look at like permaculture, you look at plant life, we have to recognize that diversity is what brings out the richness of ideas. That's where new fusions, where new disciplines come together. And when we're coming with two different generations, you know what I mean? There's different perspectives in how to problem solve a situation.
Definitely.
But then at the same time, that offers so much as a way to draw from to then show a following generation, all right, this is how you can work together.
And on that note, see, we do the back and forth, fam. You know what I mean? It's like on that same note, we got people, the youngest person on the team is 19. The oldest person on the team is in their 70s. Do you know them ones? We literally got an intergenerational, every generation of living African people in this country is represented in this production.
It's like the trees. He had the analogy just there about the plants and whatnot, and it's true. It's just like the trees. They bring up the younger trees. You know how it works under in the soil with the mushrooms and that, the psilocybin in it. They all communicate. Yeah. That's beautiful, man. Listen, so people, you gotta hit up apexzero.co.uk and check this out, man. So it's immersive live theatre experience. Drummer Warrior Storyteller. It looks like it's going to be something epic, man. Definitely. And I could sense already there's more to come from you lot as well. This ain't done here. When you got this whole back and forth.
We're going international with this thing, bro. Like we were already let's say this is already the third show. So we did one at Hackney Social, we did one at Bernie Grant Center, and big up the people who made that happen, because again they believed in us and they put us on, and that helped us get where we're going. So now we're doing Richmix, and we were already supposed to go and do this. The next version of it was going to be Uganda with Breakfast Jam.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, because the goal is, man, we're looking to plug.
Wow.
So we want to take the crew on tour. Yeah, we want to take our people on tour, but we want to plug in to local African diasporic communities everywhere in the world, right? From the continent to everywhere in the world. And when we link up, bring in the drummers from that local community, bring in the poets from the local community, bring in the dancers from the local community, and grow the thing up. So we're doing what we're doing, but we root it in the place where we are. You know what I'm saying? That's the vision, right? And so we've already, because I've got the links in Uganda already, I've got the family out in Uganda, we're going to just go straight there. Nilotika Cultural Ensemble. These brothers are absolutely phenomenal drummers, fam. Yeah, they feature heavily on the album and on the film.
Apex is connected, boy. This guy is connected. Go.
But you know what? It's fam. Like, again, it's not me, blood. Like I only put the links in Uganda because Amy True organized the trip for us to go out there. You get me? So again, much love to Amy True. Yeah, I wouldn't have any of them links if she wasn't like, well, fam, we're going to Uganda. Do you want to come? You know, them ones. Man like Snuff, been out there with Breakdance Project Uganda for he went 4 or 5 years in a row, and it was like, he's like, bro, you should really come. You know, after we went to the, and I was like, you know what? Yes, I'm coming. If I got to borrow the money to get there, I'll go. Wow. You get me? Yeah. And again, like Logic come with us. He was out there organizing the thing. And Abdul was coming to film. You know, you get me? Yeah. Yes. And Abdul missed his flight. We all got there. He missed his train, I think, as well. Missed his flight, so I had to end up doing the filming, and then kind of like. That's the only reason why I've got all this footage, because I wasn't even going to be doing the filming. He was supposed to be doing the filming. I wasn't going to be performing and whatever else. And again, so like that group of people and all the things that happened in them moments are the reason why I've got these connections and these links. It's not me, Apex, the big man, going to go out there and got these links. Nah, blood. I'm blessed.
Definitely, bro.
You get me? To have people willing to share with me and bring me into things because I don't, you know, I guess maybe because I do things for them, you know, them ones, maybe because, you know, when Amy comes to me and says, I need a video, or do you want to do this thing, or can we do, I'm like, yes, you know what I'm saying? Instead of being like, nah, I don't know if I'm or pay me a certain amount of money. And again, because I'm in a position to do that, you know, them ones, like, it's not about, I've made this happen, fam. It's happening to me. You know what I mean? And I'm just honored and blessed to be able to have those people in my life and the ancestors and the Most High guidance. You get me?
Yeah, man. That's powerful, G. That is powerful, man. Serious. You heard it right there, mother lovers. Apex Zero. Hey, Richmix, 29th of October. That's this Saturday. Make sure you lot can get tickets and get on down there.
I know you're plugging the thing, but I can't end without saying just a massive thank you to you, brothers, man. Like, honestly, like I said, like, we're doing this thing, we're putting it out there, and, you know, people are obviously getting in touch, but for you to reach out and be like, I'm excited about this, and I support, and to have this kind of conversation, it means the world. It means the world to me, brothers. Like, honestly, it's phenomenal.
Love, bro. Nah, man, we need that, man. We need that. Like, I think it's important for people to understand these sort of things. You know, like you were saying, it doesn't. Our sort of music doesn't really get out there the way it should do, and so what can we do then? As opposed to just like, I could easily, let me just repost your thing on Instagram, or at least start something like this where we got a little community there. People start checking in later on, you know, they're all watching later or whatnot, but the word gets out there at least, you know what I mean? But before we finish, man, Yopo, you got to explain this Yopo. You kept referring to this Yopo experience.
What I want to say, we have to be conscious that we have to shut the
Okay. we got to shut the space down soon, so he's just telling me to
definitely. No. We're ending now, but we're ending on
and then the thing is, I need to get the train home because we've got rehearsals at 10 a.m.
Sorry, brother. Okay.
With all the VFX people, with all the technology, and we have to be super on point tomorrow.
You might have to come back and talk about Yopo, but just explain what it is.
Yeah,
just explain what it is.
But what I will say about it, fam, is that there's certain feelings and there's certain ways you're trained in Western cultures to think that things like Yopo, things like these spiritual experiences and these plant medicines are evil or are just a drug, you know, them ones, or they're just something to do to trip out and have fun, yeah? And it's not that, yeah? I was blessed to be guided into the Chabana of a master shaman, yeah? And I went there the first time and I was like, all these people telling me like, oh, don't do it, nah, you lose your mind, you're gonna go crazy, nah, be safe, yo, you might be allergic, all these fears, fam, just dashed into my head from people who've never done it, never heard about it, but you tell them what it is, they say, don't do it, you get me? And I went in there and I was skeptical, bruv, and I sat in that circle and I didn't partake, I just experienced it. And even just sitting in there, I felt the vibes, fam. I felt the energy and how powerful and beautiful this thing was. And all them sort of like, it's not to disrespect no one else's views or beliefs, but kind of these like Christian beliefs that are embedded on me of black magic and voodoo and rah, 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 you get me? I don't even really think about them things, but they started surfacing, you get me? I don't really subscribe to them things already, but they started surfacing. And when I was in the thing, I was like, rah, this is home. You know what I mean? This is a real spiritual experience that I have been gifted and blessed with. And all them things that they're telling you are evil and they're telling you are wrong and they're telling you are bad, I understood that that's what indigenous people, our ancestors, have been doing around the world for millennia.
Flip. You heard the
millennia, fam.
Yeah, you clocked the flip.
2,000-year thing or whatever, you know, them ones, that's newness. And it's a specific, and it's been corrupted, and there's all these other different things in my opinion, you know, them ones, yeah. And when I set into this thing, I felt a reverence and a love and a joy that I'd never felt before in my life. And to me, if like, you know, the Most High has gifted me with a mind and a heart and a body to be able to, and a soul to be able to experience life through, this thing gave me so much. What could be wrong about that? Do you know them ones? Like, if the purpose of spirituality is to live better, right? In my mind, all religion, anything you want to call it, is the idea is people to live better. This has helped me live better. So you get me, in a way that going to a church never did. Do you know what I'm saying?
Wow, yeah.
And I'm not saying this for everyone. I'm not saying everyone should do this. I've really like erased the idea of like, this was good for me, so it must be good for you. I don't subscribe to that. You get me? Like, this is what was good for me. You get me? Something else might be good for you. Yeah, but equally, in the same way, I'm trying really hard not to demonize what you're doing. Please don't demonize what we're doing.
Let me jump on that one for a second. Is that these plant medicines are teacher plants,
yes,
right? So they should be honored with respect. And if you offer this honorary, this ceremonial gesture, which allows you to be humble to them, these plant medicines can grant you sacred wisdom that's been passed through generations and passed through traditions, because they become the building blocks of actually how these communities are. In the reverence is the best word, the reverence that allows them to have this unifying practice that humbles them to the fact that there is something greater than them and that is moving through them. So again, that becomes now a method or a methodology in which we understand practicing our spirituality, which it then becomes something that we attribute to the process of creating through art. And we see that now as the same mechanism that's happening with Drummer Warrior Storyteller. It becomes a practice of our own spirituality and enhancing us, because we're becoming humble as one to be elevated to the next stage. So these plant medicines have enabled us to break through these conceptions in our mind of being like, I, it's me, it's me, it's me, and it becomes the we, and it's something greater beyond us that's moving through us because we are part of this mycelial network. And just to anyone who's curious about plant medicines, I would say there's a lot of people you don't need to do this with. And it's really important to know who you feel called through. Because the plant medicine will speak through this person through to you, but not through your mind, but through actually your soul. And when you feel that calling, it's that, oh, okay, there's a question that's been asked to me, and I can choose to respond to it, and or I can let it be in the air, and when it feels right, it will come and land again. But again, you have to really truly listen inside your soul and your heart, because it will give you a jetpack experience. That could jolt you and give you a catalyst moment that allows you to accelerate, or allows you to actually question where you've decelerated in yourself. And both things will happen simultaneously. But what will come out of that, well, it'll be a lot of space for clarity to come through, like literally carving through it. And from there, you'll be able to find a truth in where your path will lead you in the future.
Bless, man. Yo, we appreciate you coming through, man, and blessing us. Serious.
Thank you for having us, man.
Apex Zero. And brother, sorry, I forgot your name.
My name is Motivation.
Motivation.
You can find me on socials at Motivation, MUTIVATION. Motivation, activations for the nation, here to give you them light codes and electrification.
Bless. And Apex, man, how can we catch hold of you? Apex Zero,
I think you got the thing there, Apex.Zero on Instagram. I only really use Instagram, fam. The Twitter is there, I don't really use it. The Facebook is there, I don't really use it. So Instagram is the way to catch me, man.
Bless, man.
And just to add on to that, find Village 101 at Village 101 Studios. And you can find all the music videos. We've done 120 music videos, 6 independent films, one's gone to Cannes, all the live streams we did. Right now we're doing Legacy 101 Festival. We've got 2 events, Friday and Thursday, Soil, supporting cultural initiatives that are within our ecosystem and giving them a platform to be able to speak and where we can support them. And Friday, Pavilion of Practices, where different practitioners are going to be sharing their practices where you can receive consultation or coaching. And all of this is to add to our fundraiser, our community fund right now, to support the resources of our East African initiative, going to Uganda, exchanging work with there and bringing them artists over to come and do Legacy 101 next year when we get funding. And again, our mental health program.
Black Einstein. Bless, brother. Salute, man. Yes, man. One love, man. We won't keep you lot any longer. I know you got shut down. Calling Black Einstein. Black Einstein, you're wanted in the building.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, man. Love, man.
Much love,
Speak
brother.
to you soon, man.
Big up yourself. Thank you for your time.
Salute,
Thank you
man.
so much, man.
Bless.
Village 101, state of mind.
Yes, man. Bless, brother. Apex, man. Speak to you soon, brother. Bless for that.
Yes, sir. See you on Saturday, man. Definitely, man.
All right.
Yes,
Later.
See ya.
Later, man. That's hilarious. It's not going to be. Hey, before we leave, man, we got to say happy birthday to Black Einstein. Unfortunately, you know what I mean?
How many candles?
Yeah, unfortunately, the candles, I think, might have melted the cake.
You better start blowing.
But you blow out now anyway. Ah, shit. Yeah, there you go. That's hilarious, man. You might have to slice off.
Thank you, people.
The top piece of that cake there before you. Yo, happy birthday! I know, that's what I'm saying. That's hilarious, man. That's so funny. That is hilarious, bro. Serious, man. Yo, we gotta say shout out to Apex Zero and Motivation, man, right there, for giving us. That was a wicked breakdown, man. So you lot. Hit them up. Go to apexzero.co.uk or you can go to Richmix to get tickets for Drummer Warrior Storyteller. That's on this Saturday, 29th October. You know what I mean? But yo, we wanted to say happy birthday to Black Einstein. It's his birthday tomorrow. You know what I mean? We got in there just a bit late. Don't worry, man. We can skim off the top, man. Don't worry. Don't watch that, man. You know
That's what
I mean?
I got you that for. Let it dry anyway. Let it all dry.
Don't lie, man. Dry. Yo.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, we got deep there, man.
No. Hold on.
Oh, what? Happy birthday.
No, we haven't got any sound again. Hold on.
Oh, don't lie.
Everyone just missed. Everyone's just missed the birthday celebrations. Hold on.
Wow. Are you serious? What did you lot get to hear? They probably just saw the cake and that's...
No, it's still not there. I don't know. Hold on.
Nah, man. Because they wouldn't know. Yes, King, happy birthday.
Hang on.
Because they saw the flames, isn't it?
Wow. That's hilarious.
No, it's coming and going. It's weird. Yeah. Let me just put you back on and see if your one works.
Yeah. No. Shout out to the crew that couldn't hear.
None of it's working. Yeah.
Or can't hear, I should say. But, you know, that's, yeah. You know what I mean? There's some shit you might not never know nothing about. You know what I mean? Oh, look, Regantology saying sound is good. Shout out to Regantology in the building. Big up to Gleam. Shout out to Don Smithered.
It looks like it's not
Shout out to Robbie Love, man. You know what I mean? EPTV. Apologise that I couldn't get to shout you lot out to see you lot step in. Mr. Green.
Everyone can still hear now, can they?
Seems so, yeah. It seems like that. But yeah, we were giving a shout out. We were giving a shout out to our brother Black Einstein, aka C Swing, aka Colin Emmanuel. It's his birthday tomorrow, but you know. Yeah, in a couple of hours, man. You can say today, man. Yeah. In the couple of hours, in like 35 minutes, bro. Damn. You know what I mean?
Damn. Yeah, man. Born at exactly midnight.
Is that good or bad?
Well, you know, as long as we can skim the top off the cake, I think it'll be good.
It looks well dodgy as well, the wax on top of it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's got like a sort of glaze to it.
Yeah, it's like that bait, what do you call it, glaze? You know, the... what's it called? Dunkin' Donuts glaze.
Yeah, it looks like Dunkin' Donut glaze.
No, just go get some Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, all right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, so Gleam said loose wire on Dan's headies.
No, in OBS, it's just there's no sound. It's just showing up as no sound at all. No meters or anything. I don't know what's happened anyway.
Damn, we saying see? Yeah, man, how you been?
I'm alright, man.
Yeah, you know, been crafting.
Just in the cave working away.
Yeah.
Cooking up some stuff, so.
Yeah, hear that.
You've heard a few little bits, you know.
Yeah, boy, I've heard a few little bits for real.
Yeah.
You got something in the cauldron cooking up for real.
A few shots being fired later off this year and next year, you know.
Yeah.
It's all good.
That's good to hear. There was the Beattober thing been going on.
I didn't take part properly, but I'm about to throw a few tracks down from tomorrow. I'll see you at the end of the month, and you know.
Last 4 days of Beattober, you're doing instead. Yeah.
Last minute substitute.
Yeah,
it's like with the basketball, isn't it? So
come in at the end, save the day.
Simple things.
Yeah.
Tactics.
All right, that's how to do it, man. You know what I mean? Hit him up.
Yep.
Black Einstein on Instagram if you want to check out what he's got. You know what I mean? Very interesting stuff. Yeah, and got a shout out the cmossboss.co.uk. Make sure you hit them up if you want to get your quality sea vegetables. Talking everything from wakame to sea moss to spirulina to dulse. What else can you get? Bladderwrack,
spaghetti.
Yeah, you can get a sea spaghetti. Jeez, sea spaghetti's banging, man. And you know there are benefits to all, including the dulse. Dulse is very good for your bones. Blood pressure can help lower blood pressure. You know, some of you lot, I know some of you lot get that blood pressure thing going on. You know what I mean? It can help improve your eyesight, immune system, things like that. Strengthen your nervous system, your blood circulation. Things like that are important, man. So make sure if you're going to get products like that, you go to the cmossboss.co.uk. All this stuff is organically wildcrafted, meaning it's not messed with at all. Do you know what I mean? And I can vouch for that for sure. That's why I'm mentioning them. Also, if you go to their checkout and type in about 20, that's in block capitals, uppercase, I mean. Yeah, about 20 in uppercase, then you can get yourself 20% off any order. So make sure you hit them up and shout out to the cmossboss.co.uk for making sure we stay healthy out of this mother lover. There's all types of ways to stay healthy. It's not that hard, man. There are ways to do it. Another way to do it is to calm yourself down. If you need to do that, you should hit up cannasairs.co.uk or cannasairsuk.com. Apologies. cannasairsuk.com to get your CBD products. And when I talk about getting yourself balanced, if you do suffer from anxiety, lack of sleep, you know, any forms of things that kind of have you, you know, not feeling that great through the day.
Just anything. Just find something that you don't feel good about.
Yeah, CBD.
CBD.
Yeah, for some reason you just be like, I don't, you know what I mean? It doesn't stress you as much.
I don't want to go to work.
Yeah. It's like, well, you know what I mean?
I want to go.
It's amazing.
It's like all different.
Yeah. Literally, like, oh no, you know what? It's actually cool. It's amazing, man. So from CannaSarsUK.com, you can get all types of products from chocolates
Stirrers.
To the chocolate stirrer. Come on. Hey, you can't mess with these chocolate stirrers, man. What I'm telling you, it's amazing because you're just like, right, out of water, just water in this thing, and bam, 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 and then give it about 20 to 40 minutes, you're just calm. You can also get CBD balm, which is really good for things like, you know, rashes, or if you got achy joints.
I'm looking to get some of that.
And whatnot. Yeah, it's really good, man. Like, it's amazing how much it helps. If you got a pain somewhere, like you might have just bang your shins on something or whatever, bam, rub it on. All of a sudden you're like, huh?
Or just go and hit something.
Anyway,
get a pain, rub it on, just try it out.
Just to check.
Just to get the CBD in you. Just get it in you.
Just to see if I'm talking shit or not.
20% off.
And indica sprays as well as sativa sprays. Do you know what I mean? These are really helpful for the same thing. Spray under the tongue, though. You know what I mean? Some people can't handle the taste. I think the taste is minor compared to some of the shit you lot are eating nowadays.
Or smoking, or
yeah. Or smoking. Yeah, I mean, but hit them up and make sure you type in SYMNNKNA. That's right, SYMNNKNA. That's Simna. Something you might not never know nothing about as an acronym, and you'll get yourself 20% off any order from CannaSarsUK.com, mother lovers. That's right. And yo, I think it's about that time, man. We appreciate everyone coming through. Apex Zero, definitely got something special coming up. So if you lot can get on down to that, or even just support the album, support the LP, Drummer Warrior Storyteller, make it happen, man. We'll be back next week, I do believe, with going on another deep one for you lot. Do you know what I mean? So make sure you get your seatbelts ready just in case. We didn't get to do the roll call this week, so hold that one. Roll that one and hold it till next week. You know that it matures better. The zoot that you thought, oh, I forgot I rolled this. I forgot I rolled this like a week and a half ago or whatever. Then you're like, let me just try it out. You warm it up just to give it a bit more life, and then
give
bam,
it a quick spray with some
like,
CBD.
Quick spray with some He's got it all wrong, man.
That's not how it works.
Spray it with CBD. He's like, yo, that would just mess the whole zoot up. That would basically do what you did to the cake. To the joint, man. Yeah, now it's all good.
Happy birthday. Yeah.
Picasso made cakes.
It's my birthday, and all they got me was this cake covered in
melted
donuts.
Yeah, I had to.
Covered
in clay.
This fetish
covered
cake.
in
candle jizz.
I think donut.
That's hilarious, man. Yes, man. Turbo Turbolicious. Big up all the crew that were locked in, man. We'll see you again next week, mother lovers. You know what I mean? Happy birthday, Black Einstein.
Thank you.
Yes.
Have a good week, peeps.
Yeah, man. That's Dan DNA. My name is Mice Diggy. And this is some shit you might not never know nothing about. But guess what, mother lovers? Right about now, we're out.